if you look at the odds of a sperm going into meat with an egg, and how many others didn't, it should tell you that automatically when you were born a winner, right?
Okay.
But there's something that happens in a thing called life, which now either encourages you to continue being a winner mindset, or you meet the things in life which then drain you from believing in yourself. And holla, it's your boy, George Billionaire. And as always, Monday. And you know Monday is hustle hard Monday. And we gotta go get that grind going. And I love Mondays because Mondays are a good day to get your fuel tank recharged. And today, on Hustle Hard, I'm gonna be talking about a topic which a lot of people underestimate. A lot of people have settled in a place called the comfort zone. A lot of people are okay with being average. But people don't know that they were born winners and they were created to be absolutely amazing, great, and ultimately become history makers. I don't know about you, but tune in, subscribe to the YouTube channel, watch the whole video, be provoked, inspired, and equipped. I'm not done with you yet because I believe in you. I believe there's supernatural grace upon your life to make you become what God purposed you to be. But it begins when you begin to start being uncomfortable with being average and you set your goals on becoming great. Let's go.
Holla, it's your boy George Billionaire, and you're listening to Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat. For yours truly, Becky K.
I love what I'm seeing on the WhatsApp platform. Hashtag hustle hard. Hustle hard. No, Mama Madison. No, we are hustling and we are trying to hustle out of the hustle and make sure that we create entrepreneurs, we create business women, we create businessmen, and we create people with the mind of building. Not just kungo shandira moon, umbo shandira we. This is what we are really trying to create on Hustle Hard. It's an absolutely amazing weekend. I cannot wait to tell you all the stories. You know, like when we get to story time, I'll be telling you all the interesting things that happened over the weekend. But one quick one, when I was making my way to work today, you know those radio license? Yes, with the police officers on the side. So they stopped me and they're like, flag me down, they check my stuff, check my credentials, and they're like, Dio no took our room radio. I'm like, no. And took our room radio. And she comes, no. There's that program, you know, the dress up. Unengo choose our room kuti vanotenga zvakashata. Ngati aiwa akukutuka naimko. Kana ndatuka nditi sorry. But you know what? It just made me smile. That hey, people of Zimbabwe are really tuned into Capitalk. They are tuned into the pulse. And although they might feel a bit insulted here and there, so today's topic might poke you the wrong way and you might feel like, yo, Uncle Billy, just know that at the end of the day, you are going to take note of what he is saying and you are going to put it into practice, whether you like it or not. It's just going to happen one way or the other. You are going to find yourself just doing certain things that you didn't think you were going to be able to do. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, in the building, Uncle Billy. Hey, George, it's your boy.
It's your boy.
In the building.
George Billionaire with
That's
none
right.
other, the one and only, Becky K. Internationally known, she is. And we are here on Hustle Hard. And Becky, today I'm excited.
Me too.
I came with a message for people today that after listening to this, they are going to see themselves differently.
True story.
You know, one thing about tuning into Capitalk, there's no way you can remain the same, especially when you tune in and you're listening to Hustle Hard, because your mindset. And like we always say there, success begins in your mind.
That's
and
right.
Only until you are able to see that you yourself are a success will you actually begin to think, act, and also, most importantly, hang around other successful people. You know, last week we were talking about association, and association is of paramount importance. I recommend it to anybody who wants to be great. I've said it once, and and I've said it twice, and I'll say it one more time. If you keep hanging around with low-class people, people who are murmuring and complaining, people who have no ambition, people who have been at the same place for the past 5-10 years and are actually comfortable where they are, people who have no ambition to become great, trust you me, you will become exactly like the people you surround yourself with. And I cannot emphasize that message. And it's going to go on today's topic, where most people were born eagles, but because of their deliberate association with pigeons and chickens, they have now forgotten their ability to become what God purposed them to be.
Yeah.
So as we go on to our topic today, people are going to, after listening to this and watching this program, begin to see that no. I think some of the choices that I am making are the reasons why I am where I am. I think I have settled too low. I think I have become comfortable. I think I have blamed everybody else except myself for why I am where I am today. And you know, the thing with people, they will think that the solution is in a foreign land. Doesn't matter if you go to Chando, America, Australia, China, UK, Europe, wherever you go, if your mindset is still the same, sooner than later, you will always go back to the habits that you grew up with. If you deliberately do not change your mindset and your association, which ultimately shapes your mindset. So today, Becky, I'm on fire. I hope I offend many people out there today.
I hope so too.
Because my purpose, as always, is not to be anything, but to provoke. You need to be provoked to want to be better. You need to be inspired to say, wow, I never saw it like that. And most importantly, you need to be equipped. Because if you are not provoked, inspired, and equipped, you are going to remain the same person. You're going to you're going to watch other people excelling and wonder, how are they doing it? But those people that are excelling and making it, imagine there are people here Zimbabwe who are making it. But imagine there are people who are still today, Becky, believe it or not, talking about elections. There are still people talking about the ZIG. There are still people talking about, I didn't go to university. There are people talking about, my parents never took me there. I had a divorce. My first business failed. But there are others who are not staying there. They are moving past those situations and they are making a deliberate choice to say, you know what? I learned a lesson from that. I didn't go to university, but that doesn't dictate me to become successful or not, because the university degree is not going to bring money into your pocket.
Yeah.
It's what you do with the education, the knowledge, the wisdom, and most importantly, which is what I highly recommend above just the normal education, the self-education. When you begin to know what am I good at? What do I want to become? And you self-teach yourself those things. Then ultimately you will become that. You know, I was talking to my kids over this weekend and I was saying, I can easily tell what type of person you are by what you spend your time doing.
Oh, yeah.
Now, to all those people who are listening right now, if I go on your YouTube search list and I look at what you are constantly watching, if it's just entertainment and there's no self-education, your life is going to be very entertained, but your pockets are going to be dry. But imagine if you are constantly learning how to become a great MC, how to be an entrepreneur, how to improve my appearance, how did the guys make it from past years, those things will equip you. That's self-education.
Yeah.
But if all you are doing is you are streaming the latest music and that's that, I promise you, where you are today, 5 years from now, your kids are going to be asking you, what were you doing when our neighbors and all your friends who you always see on TV are now making it, and yet you are not doing anything substantial? You are still staying in that small place that you grew up with your kids. Now they are 20 and you are still at the same place. You are still driving the same car. You are not doing anything that's self-developing you. And like I said, my mission today is to provoke many, because I think a lot of people need to be provoked.
Yes,
so that people can get away from excusetizes, from blaming the country, the president, blaming everybody else. But this life we live, remember, 24 hours is what we were all given.
True story.
We have the same amount of time, but what we are doing with it is what's going to determine who we are, where we end up, the lifestyle that we are living. So many people are living a great life because they sacrificed kudara. There are people up until now, Becky, believe it or not, who are still staying in their parents' houses, and they are of age. I will not mention the age, but they are of age. There's a time when you need to become financially free to begin to start your own course of life. You get married, you now start your family away from your parents. And it's uncomfortable, but trust you me, I've said it before and it offended many. If you are staying at your parents' house, don't let it become a thing that is overstayed.
Yeah.
You may be in a tight spot, but don't stay there too long.
Work your way out of it.
Get out of there. Don't get too comfortable.
True story.
Don't. You need to move out and start. It's okay going to stay in one room, but it's a beginning. And then you lift yourself up to being what you're supposed to become. So today as we go on to the show, Becky, I know already I've given a couple of blows to people, but it's important that let us be transformed. You know, I love that verse in Romans. It says, do not be conformed to this world, right? But be ye transformed. And on Hustle Hard, we are trying to transform mindset from whichever school you went to. You know, and there are people who say, no, George, you went to a good school, that's why you've succeeded. I can tell you there are many of my successful friends who grew up in rural areas who have become successful because they chose not to be conformed by going to an A-grade school. They chose to say, you know what, I may not have gotten this exposure growing up, but I need to make a deliberate choice to associate with greatness. And here, if you're listening to this program, you are deliberately making a choice to associate with greatness, to be told things you don't want to be told, so that you can sharpen your life and ultimately become a better person.
Because a difference needs to be made at the end of the day, Uncle Billy. A difference needs to be made. I'm seeing the messages that are coming through already, and I think we can just get into what we're talking about today. In your opening, you said success begins in your mind. So I have to see it first. If I don't see myself successful, does it mean I will never be successful, or I'll be okay? I'll just be average. Before you answer that, our topic today is don't settle for average when you were made to be great. My question to you then, to add on to whatever else you're going to answer, is, really? Were we all made to be great?
Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4 people in studio, a couple of thousand people listening on radio. You are coming here to tell us that we were all created to be great. What's happening?
You know, Becky, so if I take you back to one of my favorite quotes.
Yeah.
Biologically speaking, before you were formed in your mother's womb, the Bible says, God knew you and he had a purpose and a mandate for you, right? When your mother met your father and they created you, there were a lot of people competing to run towards that egg.
Right.
And that person who won that race is the people listening to us today, and even including yourself. So God knew that I need to go and create an entrepreneur in George. I need to go and create an MC in Becky. I need to go and create a Steve Jobs, a Strive Masiwa, an Aliko Dangote, a Usain Bolt, a My Rebecca Chisamba, all these people. He knew. So God's intent for making you, if you look at the odds of a sperm going into meet with an egg, and how many others didn't, it should tell you that automatically when you were born a winner, right?
Okay.
But there's something that happens in a thing called life, which now either encourages you to continue being a winner mindset, or you meet the things in life which then drain you from believing in yourself. You know, the word of God says the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy, right? The enemy wants you to believe that you are not a winner, that it's okay to be average, that it's okay for you to live a mediocre life. But then people don't realize that God's intent was to make winners out of people, right?
Okay.
And winning is not something that happens by accident. If you look at all the people who've made it and are successful, they won deliberately. They worked hard to win. And like I've said before, most people, if they ever get a chance to have a vision like I had once upon a time,
right,
where God showed me, George, this life you're living is not what you should live. I had a revelation, went up there, and you said, George, you're going to be internationally known. You're not just a Glenora champion, or a Harare champion, or an African champion. You're going to be internationally known. But what you need to do is to go back, put your foot flat on the pedal, and pursue everything. Because this life is only limited in one's mindset. So to people who ask, are we all winners? You are only where you are today, Becky, because you've chose to put effort in that thing to the level that you have. There are people who I always say have a job. They think that's where life ends. They think a job is all they can ever achieve, and that's all they can ever become. Like I was talking about last week, our own celebrity here in Zimbabwe, Madam Boss.
That's right.
When she began, trust you me, and look at her journey. It's an amazing story. She was a housemaid for this, that, and the other. But look at the process and the transition. Now she's with the who's. Now she's making money always.
Her profile has changed.
Right? Because God created all of us to be winners. But what happens in life, there are certain things you need to go through. There's a certain ambition and a belief. You only get in life what you want. Remember, the word of God says God will give
not what you deserve.
God will grant you the desires of your heart. So if you don't desire, and you know, I was talking to Madam Boss recently, the thing about her going to America and meeting all these people was actually an SFP. Because if you go back and hear what she said in 2019, it's just spoken word. But there are specific things that people utter and work towards that cause the universe to attract those things towards you. And imagine, she spoke it in 2019, in 2024, it happened. She didn't pay even a dime for her to get there.
Come on now.
So there are people who, because of your lack of desire, that ambition to say, I want a better life. This is why I said you were not born to be average. You weren't. There's nobody who was born to be average. But what the enemy does, he manipulates your mind to say, no, my father was poor, my great-grandfather was poor, they all had a job. Nobody in our generation has ever been an entrepreneur. So this is what we all do. But that mindset needs to be changed and transformed by somebody. And that somebody is you listening to us today. You have to say, you know what, from today, I've said it so many times, Becky, that taste your words before you release them, because your words are strong and powerful. If ever you ask me, George, how are you? I'm always winning. I'm above and not beneath. I can do all things. These are some of the affirmations I use. But George, I know what George Billionaire, does he even understand? I've always told people that it's a matter of time until fulfillment of purpose happens. I don't need you to believe who I'm going to be. Because God showed me what I'm going to be. He didn't show you. But the problem with you, you don't even see yourself bigger than where you are.
Back to that again.
You know,
you must see it.
You know, today is a friend of mine who, you know, fills up my car wheels at Belgravia, and he passed away.
Oh, shame.
And imagine this, he worked for this company for 20 years. And I've always told people, this thing called a job, right? 20 years of service, right? He's gone. What's he going to get? If, trust you me, he's gone, been with the Lord. He's going to get a report, right? Of course, wait, when I sent you on earth in the year so and so and such, there was a training period for you that I wanted you to go through. But you got too comfortable because of the friends you hang around with. And you overstayed your place at that place of work for 20 years. After 7 years, there were certain opportunities that I presented before you. There were people who wanted to partner and help you grow. But you said, no, I'm just a worker. I'm okay with the J or B. Because of your surrounding and those people who are comfortable around you, guess what? You stayed longer than you were supposed to stay. And now, you're gone. And guess what? This is why I love Miles Monroe's quote, which says, the richest place on planet Earth, right, is not the gold fields of Zimbabwe.
Absolutely not.
Right? It's not anywhere else on earth, but it is the graveyard, because there are specific people who were sent to fulfill a specific mandate. They were supposed to recruit people, right? Look at here in Zimbabwe, we've got Strive Masiwa, right? Imagine he had not given birth to Econet. Imagine we've got Philip Mataranyika. Imagine he had not decided to start something. How many people will be unemployed? So there are so many people right now who you are not engaging into a thing called work because you are not putting your dreams to work. You are not jumping off ship. Imagine we've got George Munengwa who started Pro Air Conditioning, which now has saved so many people's homes, cars, events, etc. But had George only remained at the JOB stage,
he would not have done what.
How many people would be unemployed? How many people would not know of Pro Air? How many people would not? And it's the same thing with you and me. There's something, there's a seed God put in everybody. But the problem is your seed is in your pocket. You are scared. You are okay with where you are. You are comfortable. But once you put that seed into the ground, a lot of people think entrepreneurship is easy. But if you understand the process of a seed dying in the ground, it's dark, you are alone. It's not a nice place. People will mock you. Becky, things are not working well. George Argumirapama robots giving flyers. I think things are bad. But guess what? That's a person who decided that I don't want to be average. I want to become better and bigger. And all this then brings birth to the thing that employs others, a thing that leads you to a place where you're not average and you're on course of what God purposed you to be. So to people out there, God did not purpose you to be ordinary. God did not purpose you to be average. God purposed us to be far greater than what you can ever think or imagine. But because God is God, He is outside the earth. He cannot come into this earth and intervene. It takes things like here on Hustle Hard, where faith comes by hearing. And to people who are hearing now, there's something in your stomach, butterflies. You feel, hey, George talks to me, and there's something in me that wakes up. There's a specific thing in you which directs you where you're supposed to go. In the Bible, we had Joseph, a dreamer. He told his brothers his dream. But do you know what? He had to go the long way, right? But there was a fulfillment of that dream he had many years ago. But it took a process. So when you begin your journey, when you want, like our purpose here on Hustle Hard, is for you to see that, listen, I'm okay with the job, but it's not everything. That's not the whole world. With your JOB, you will never be able to go on holiday.
Come on.
You will never be able to buy the car of your dreams, to take your kids to the schools you want, to live a life which, if you leave work today and you don't go to work for a year, will you be financially okay? Will you be able to sustain the lifestyle, to take care of all those things that you're usually supposed to take care of? And you find majority of us won't. But when you begin the side hustle, it begins, Becky, with a side hustle. And the pulsers need to understand that. And I tell you very soon, Becky, very soon, when Wakatemba Chinunzi Mabasa, the JOB, I've said it 5 years ago, that automation is coming. AI, it's already here.
And
the bank tellers do not have a job anymore. Our waiters, which think they have a job, do not have a job for very long. The people in any sector, accountants, marketers, there are apps now that can create so much. Imagine, there's so much convenience being brought in years to come. And if we don't adapt and begin to do something with what God purposed in us, which so many people can ask, George, what is it? It's important you then begin to find something that's going to take care of you if your job today was cut off and you had no income at all.
Uncle Billy on Hustle Hard on the Pulse. 0719 100 404 is the WhatsApp number. If you're just listening in, yeah, normally we are nicer than this. But George today is like, no, enough is enough. People need to know, and they need to be set right. There's a message that just came through, or plenty of messages came through. So we want to go through some of those messages, and plenty scriptures also. People are just linking what you're saying with the word of God, and I can't say I'm mad about that. So here is a message.
his nas angupili vayavane moto muzavaranyatsotaura nemo chokwadi chaicho chaicho ishi ndikuzvifarira izvi.
Anzi mauya muri hot.
True.
Anzi today you are like, yo, I am playing with you and nazera name. Anzi Uncle Billy mandibata bata. This is Daram Jubeki. He's in South Africa, actually listening in from South Africa. Thank you so much. Mr. Itai Bonda says, success begins in your mind. Reminds me of the book, The Power of Your Thoughts by Pastor Chris. And then he goes on to say, true, George, one's estate is as far as his or her state of mind. If you read Genesis 13:14-17, where God is speaking to Abraham and saying, lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land which you see, I will give it to you. All the land which you see, back to that visual aspect of it. Then you were talking about the J-O-B, and it reminded me of a teaching that Miles Monroe taught about the difference between work and a job. A job is what you do 9 to 5, and then work is what God has instructed each and everybody to find to do. Right? So in the book of Ecclesiastes 9 verse 10, it says, whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might. For in the realm of the dead, where you are going, we're all gonna die. There is neither work, nor planning, nor knowledge, nor wisdom.
Come on.
Now, all of that is not going to be there in the realm of the dead, but it's there now. There's knowledge, there's planning, there's wisdom, and there's day and night and everything. And God is saying, whatever you find your hands to do, whatever work your hands find to do, do it with all your might. So effort needs to be put in there. So I can visualize myself living this grand, beautiful life, because now you've told me you are not created to be average. God did not create you to be average. The choices that you are making, the people that you're hanging around, are the ones who are feeding you with that information of there's I think it was a video of a lady called Masiziba. She's always like posting these motivational talks and all. So recently she went to speak at a bridal shower, and I think she was just touched by the stories that were around at the bridal shower. Today in the morning, she hits us with one and she says, don't look for marriage before you're empowered, because you reduce the standard of your living. And similar to what you said, where your kids will ask you, what were you doing?
True.
Where were you? Why don't we have this? Why is our life like this? And she said, some of you are living lives where before you change into the clothes that you want to wear today, you tell your kids to get out of the house, or you tell your kids to turn around and face the other way because of the decisions that you made, because now your space,
it's cramped up.
It's cramped up
in one room.
But God did not create you to live that kind of life. So the decisions that we are making, the people that we're hanging around with, and just, I think sometimes we procrastinate a lot. There's people with ideas here, George. There's people with, oh my gosh, I can be a go-between for this thing. But I think people are just thinking business. And they're thinking one way of business when there's different things that they can be getting themselves involved in.
Like, one thing we need to understand, when God created us, there's a specific gift He put in everybody. A specific. Becky, for you to be here today where you are, that gift began many years ago, when somebody saw your confidence by you just standing and identifying it, and asked you to, I grew up with you so I know you, asked you to present at church and be an MC. And how is that now correlated with your life? You are that which people saw in you many years ago.
Yeah.
With me, Becky, where I used to work, I remember my friend, my boss's friend, Give More Kapesa. He always used to come up to me and say, young man, there's greatness in you. You're not going to be here for long. There's something in you which just says entrepreneur. And there are so many compliments many people have received. I used to be called, George, you're going to be an entrepreneur. I used to refuse and say, no, I'm the best sales and marketing guru. You know, my diary is Kudara, I was the best marketing and sales guru. That's what I used to write about myself. But then there came people who identified something in me to say, young man, you have a way of talking to people. There's some excellence. There's a boss in you. But I used to refuse it. But there's so many compliments that many listening today have been told. And sometimes you are standing on your gold, but you don't realize it because you are still thinking on the JOB, the average, the low life mentality individual. And I always used to think, how do entrepreneurs at month end pay themselves last? After you pay everybody, then you pay yourself. It didn't make sense to me, and it wasn't anything that I grew up wanting, because nobody in my family was ever an entrepreneur. But it takes somebody listening to us today to say, you know what, there has never been a millionaire in my family, but I'm going to make a deliberate choice from now on to, you know what, go the road less traveled. I'm going to try. I always say people who are trying something new are better than people who are not doing anything. Because those people, trust you me, the worst feeling in life is when you are dead and gone and you are shown your file and you are shown, Becky, your net worth that God had purpose for you and how many generations you are supposed to be a blessing for. But because wakazongofa and all the money that you had was only able to buy your coffin and your burial requirements, and that's that. But with God's plan, he wanted a net worth for you. Imagine Michael Jackson, up until now, his foundation still has enough money to cater for him for years. Same with Steve Jobs, same with, I think these people will be smiling, looking down, saying, I fulfilled my God-ordained purpose. But for you, don't wait. I'm not like a prophet here who says I spend time with God. But I'm telling you, I had that vision and I went and I saw. And this was something that a lot of people should change from today onwards. What are you going to leave generations to come? Our parents left us a house in Glenora. That's great. Now I have kids, I have a family, I have people who I need to take care of. What are you going to leave for the next generation? Need the current lifestyle you're living. I promise you, you can even barely take care of your own relatives. But it begins with a decision to say, you know what? I don't want to be average. What gift do I have? Like you said, there are others who are just good middlemen. They can make other people meet. They've got good PR skills. There are others who can do amazing makeup for their family and friends, but they are not willing to go that journey less traveled. But the gift is there in their hands. There are others who can give an amazing haircut. There are others who can cut the lawn like no other. And guess what? There are many people who want their lawns cut. There are others who can design and do things. Why not go and begin to offer those services? So everybody has a gift, but only to the level that you let that gift be known to people. And like I've always said, my first year with Pro Air was not bright and rosy. So to people who begin the journey of entrepreneurship, understand and know this. It's not going to be easy, but trust you me, the reward with time is more fulfilling than earning that same amount of money you're earning and not having any financial security. Because when your job leaves you and they find somebody younger, better, more efficient, they find a new app to now, you call yourself the marketing manager. No, I'm the CFO. No, I'm the managing director. Somebody's going to, sooner than later, a board will change and say, listen, we don't need so many, job descriptions at the top. Let's cut down. Just the CEO, the MD, and the marketing manager. All other posts are relinquished with immediate effect. What are you going to do? But imagine if you're hearing this now, it's something that you need to say, you know what? I wasn't born to be average. God sent me here for a purpose.
True story.
George did it. Strive Masiwa did it. All these people in Zimbabwe who became entrepreneurs, they did it. But it began with a decision to say, you know what? I don't want to be average. I want to be the best. And guess what? It begins in your mind. It also comes up with that work ethic. It comes with self-education, right? Whatever field you're doing, go and research. Becky, I've been to so many air conditioning expos. I understand air conditioning. I live it, I speak it, I breathe it. And when I go to those places where they need air cons, I know it. It's in my DNA. So whatever it is you want to do, spend so much research on it. Invest in it. Go to an expo. Learn, and then perfect yourself. That when opportunity presents itself, you will be able to catch that opportunity and monetize it so it gives you money. But if all you are doing is watching videos, music videos, series, unproductive things, I always say, if you are doing things by feeding your mind, things that don't benefit you and motivate and provoke you, you're wasting time, because time is not given. If you don't think you're going to live 100 years, I tell people that every 100 years, believe it or not, there are new people on this planet.
We're coming to take over all the stuff that you
imagine. So you only have this season to make the most of things, and it's important that we begin to believe that we are bigger and better, and God had a greater plan for us than just us thinking it's okay to be average and just have that job and be comfortable. Don't be comfortable, people. Let's stand up, rise up, and begin to believe that we can be far better in this economy, in this country, right here, to begin to say that, you know what, I don't have to go far. I can start here. I just need to stop making lousy excuses, change my association. That topic, Becky, I can go the whole year.
I really wanted you to answer this one before you wrap it up. And the sakatiri job rakashata iri. Totanga say entrepreneurship.
So I say always that I worked 6 years of my life, but in those 6 years I wasn't just working. I was learning. I was learning from my bosses. I was a very inquisitive worker. I learned a lot. Now I know how to treat my workers and how not to treat them. Now I know how systems work and how they don't work. But everything in life is about ambition. What do you want to be? Are you that person who is fearless to begin to go a journey, less traveled? And most of the time it's coming from the compliments you're getting. If you listen to people who compliment you, do this silly small exercise. Go on your Facebook profile and type and say, what is it that comes to mind when you hear my name? And you'll be surprised at the things that people say about you. They'll begin to give you business ideas on how people see you rather than how you see yourself.
It's 1 o'clock and it's time for the news. George That's all we have for Hustle Hard today. 1 o'clock, stand by.